Islam is your birthright religion? In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. The existence of man and of the entire universe is not a mere accident or the product of a chance. This universe and everything that is in it manifests and points to the realization of an all-powerful creator. Therefore, it is man's duty to know his master creator, Allah. This means that there must be a creator God behind our existence. Indeed, Allah, the only true God, has told us about himself through the divine guidance he sent to human beings. Humanity has received this divine guidance through messengers who were chosen by Allah to convey his message to human beings and to be living examples for their people. These messengers were sent to man to tell him who his creator is, what the purpose of his existence is, and what will happen to him after death, etc. They all brought the same message: monotheism, the worship of Allah alone. However, they differed only in the canonical teachings law that were presented to their peoples. This message was preached by all prophets of Allah. However, earlier messages were lost or distorted by later generations. As a result, the pure message was polluted with myths, superstitions, idolatry, and irrational philosophical ideologies. But Allah, the Compassionate, didn't leave man to go astray. Indeed, he sent prophets to reinstate the original message and call man back to the right path. The last of those prophets was Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, who presented Allah's guidance in its final form, Islam, for all peoples. Islam is an Arabic word that denotes submission and obedience. As a religion, Islam stands for complete submission and obedience to Allah. The other literal meaning of the word Islam is peace, and this signifies that one can only achieve real peace of mind and heart and peace in society at large through submission and obedience to Allah, the 5 pillars of Islam. Worship in Islam is an all-inclusive term for all that Allah loves, private and public, sayings and actions, in accordance with his teachings. Islam considers every virtuous action which is performed with all view to carrying out the commandments of Allah and in order to seek his pleasure as an act of worship, termed the 5 pillars of Islam, stand as the framework of the spiritual life on which the structure of Islam rests. They include the following. Point 1. The declaration of monotheism. Monotheism is the cornerstone of Islam. A man joins the fold of Islam by believing and declaring the profession of monotheism. There is no God worthy of worship but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. It is the acceptance or denial of this belief that differentiates a Muslim from a non-Muslim. 2. Prayers. Daily prayers are offered 5 times a day as a duty towards Allah. Prayers are performed at the following times: dawn, noon, afternoon, sunset, and nightfall. A Muslim may pray almost anywhere, though Muslim males are enjoined to pray in congregation in all mosques. Prayer is symbolic of equality, for the poor and the rich, the ruler and the ruled, the black and the white, all stand together united in a row, shoulder to shoulder, and prostrate themselves before Allah. Prayer strengthens the belief in the 6 pillars of faith in Islam. The Muslim believes in the following articles of faith. 1. He believes in the oneness of God Allah, supreme and eternal, merciful and compassionate, creator and provider of everything. 2. The Muslim believes in the existence of angels as part of the unseen world. Angels are purely spiritual and splendid beings whose nature requires no food, drink, or sleep. They carry out specific duties as signed to them by Allah. 3. He believes in all messengers of Allah with no discrimination between them. Every nation has had a messenger or more sent by Allah to convey his message and to exemplify it for mankind. The Quran mentions the names of only 25 of them and indicates that there have been many others. Those 25 include Noah, Abraham, Ismail, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, David, Solomon, John, Jesus, and finally, Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon them all. Every messenger was sent to a specific nation, but Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, was sent for all mankind. This special status of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as the seal and last of all the messengers puts the Muslim in the position whereby honoring all those messengers who came before him. Evidences or proofs that Prophet Muhammad is an apostle of Allah are more than 1,000 are mentioned in his biography. The greatest is the Quran, the word of Allah, which couldn't have been covered but by a messenger. The biblical versions, even in their present forms, clearly mention the advent of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. See Jew 18:18, 18:15, 33-2-3, Isaiah 29-12, Songs of Solomon 5:16, John 16:12-14, and John 14:15-16, 4. A Muslim believes in all the scriptures of Allah, but in their original form. These scriptures form the enlightenment which the messengers received to show their respective peoples the right path of Allah. In the Quran, a special reference is made to the books of Abraham, Suhuf, the Torah law of Moses, the Zabur Psalms of David, and the Injil Gospel of Jesus. But long before the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, those revealed books were either lost or corrupted. Allah revealed the Quran to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as the final revelation and guidance for all mankind for all times. 5. A Muslim believes in the Day of Judgment. The Quran teaches that life is but a test for man to see whether or not he will follow the commands of Allah. Accordingly, one should prepare himself with good deeds for the eternal life after death. People will be resurrected on the Day of Judgment to stand before Allah for a just reckoning of their worldly deeds and actions. People with good records will be generously rewarded and warmly welcomed to the heavens of Allah, and those with bad records will be punished and cast into hell. Through belief in Allah and in the Day of Judgment, Islam firmly implants in man's heart a consciousness of Allah's presence, impelling man and society at large to obey him sincerely without any external human pressure. 6. A Muslim believes that whatever happens in this world is ordered and predestinated by Allah. Allah is the most wise, so whatever he does has a meaningful purpose. At times, we may fail to understand it fully. Muslims, the moderate nation. The chief characteristic of the Islamic concept of life is that it does not recognize a conflict or a separation between spiritual and mundane life. Also, it does not recognize extremes, ritualism, secularism, or materialism. For a Muslim, all aspects of life, the spiritual and the material, the state and the religion, are interrelated, because everything belongs to Allah and Allah alone. Islam provides definite guidelines for all people to follow in all walks of life: individual, social, moral, governmental, political, economic, spiritual, etc. Because of this approach of moderation, the Quran calls the Muslims a moderate nation. Sources of Islamic teachings. The Islamic way of life is based on the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah. The Quran is the basic source of Islamic teaching, and law. It is the word of Allah revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, by the angel Gabriel. The entire Quran was revealed to Muhammad, peace be upon him, in parts over a period of 23 years during his prophethood. Whenever a portion of it was revealed, it was written by his faithful scribes, companions, according to his instructions on palm leaves, parchments, bones, etc. Moreover, there were tens of thousands of the Prophet's companions who committed the Quran to memory. After the death of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the first Caliph Abu Bakr ordered the collection of the whole Quran, and in one volume. It was preserved until the third Caliph Uthman, who prepared several copies and sent them to different Muslim territories. From that time onwards, about 14 years ago, the same version has been in use in its exact words, order, and language, with no single addition or deletion. Briefly stated, the Quran is the only remaining authentic divine revelation available to mankind today that is distinguished by its clear historical accounts, unchallengeable accuracy, unquestionable and indisputable authenticity, and complete preservation in its exact language of revelation. The Sunnah is the teachings, sayings, and actions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, meticulously collected and reported by his companions, may Allah reward them all. It explains and elaborates the Quranic verses. Islam is the religion of equality. There is no discrimination in Islam between people on the basis of color, tribe, race, nationality, etc. Since all humans descend from one father and one mother, Adam and Eve, Islam teaches that the standard is righteousness. A verse of the glorious Quran reads, "The most honored in the sight of Allah is he who is most righteous." Glorious Quran translation, Al-Hujurat 13. Islam is your birthright. Everybody is born in a state of fitra, i.e. one's inclination to worship one God, a pure monotheism. To accept Islam is not to turn one's back on all the previous messages and prophets, peace be upon them all. In fact, it is a reversion to the original monotheism in which we are all created. As such, Islam is your birthright. However, the parents or the community convert the child to other faiths or to atheism. Criteria for truth. Are you following a correct belief? The criteria for true faith are simply listed as follows. 1. Rational teachings. Man is a rational being, hence he should use both reasons and intellect to distinguish truth from falsehood. 2. Perfection. Since Allah is perfect, his revelation must be perfect without flaw and totally free on any contradiction or error. 3. No mystery. The revelation must not be associated with any myth or superstition because Allah's knowledge is the absolute truth man can ever have. 4. Scientific. Since divine revelation is the absolute truth, it can always withstand the challenge of any kind of knowledge, including human discoveries in the field of science. 5. Prophecy. Allah is the all-knower, thus prophecy in his revelation will be fulfilled. 6. Inimitable. True revelation from Allah is an infallible living miracle that cannot be imitated by any being. 7. Worship of one God. True revelation should teach the worship of one God who has no partner, share, associate, or helper in his divinity, i.e., creatorship, lordship, sovereignty, or in any of his divine attribute. 8. Simple, clear, and just. True revelation must be simple, clear, and just to be readily understood by anyone because all humans are equal in the sight of Allah. His blessings are open to anyone who has the will to obey him. To conclude, Islam is not a new religion. It is, in essence, the same message and guidance which Allah revealed to all his messengers, but only re-expressed in its comprehensive, complete, and final form. It is a continuation and culmination of all the preceding religions because, as we know, their origin is one and the same, Allah. A verse of the glorious Quran reads, "This day I have projected your religion for you, completed my favor upon you, and have chosen for you Islam as your religion." Al-Ma'idah 3. In addition, Islam being the final message from Allah that culminates, supersedes, and seals all the previous religions, makes it an obligation on every person who clearly hears its message to accept it and follow it. Another verse of the glorious Quran says, "If anyone desires a religion other than Islam, never will it be accepted of him, and in the hereafter he will be in the ranks of those who have lost all spiritual good." Al-Imran 86. Now, Allah has shown you the right path and at the same time conferred upon you freedom of choice and will whether or not you accept the message of Islam. May the light of truth shine in our hearts and minds. May it lead us to peace and certitude in this life and eternal bliss in the hereafter. Some suggested readings about Islam. Point 1. Holy Quran English translation and commentary by Ayuzat Ali. 2. Towards Understanding Islam Essay Maududi. 3. Islam Basic Principles and Characteristics opening parenthesis K. Ahmed closing parenthesis. For the Bible, the Quran and Science M. Bucatel. 5. Muhammad in the Bible J. Badawi. 6. Jesus, a Prophet of Islam M. A. Rahim. 7. Status of Women in Islam J. Badawi. 8. Polygamy in Islamic Law J. Badawi.9. Islam and Western Society M. Jamila.